Hey, what's up? It's Jordan, the Millionaire Millennial, and in this video I'm going to be walking you through a series of videos actually called How to Make Money with Software as a Service, or SaaS. So this is something I've been doing for quite a while, and I want to share with you what I've learned as I've been going through how to make money with SaaS. In this very first video, we're going to be talking about all the things that you should be doing before you actually start. So first of all, if you're going to walk through the series with me, just go ahead and eliminate your distractions, okay? So take your phone, like mine, and just put it on the other side of the room, okay? So no distractions, close all your other tabs, just pay attention. So I want to walk through a couple things in this video, what you're going to learn here in this entire series, what you're not going to learn here, because I don't want you to think that you're going to learn something and then, not get that, why you should do a SaaS and why you shouldn't, because frankly, there's a lot of business models out there, and I've done a lot of them, and the thing is, people don't really go through the caveats of the business models, and so I want to explain why you shouldn't do it so that you understand like the drawbacks, because every business model has drawbacks. There's always pros, there's always cons, and I want to talk about both sides of that. First off, what you're going to learn here and what you're not. What you're going to learn here, and I'll just walk you through the outline here, is we're going to talk about market selection, okay? How to pick a market and then how to find a product to fit that market. Then we're going to talk about pre-marketing. It's something that you do before you actually even build anything. Then of course we're going to talk about how to actually build a SaaS. And then we're going to talk about launching and scaling that SaaS. And then we're going to talk about exiting that SaaS, okay? Everything that you need to know to basically start from nothing and build a successful SaaS, all the way up to actually exiting it and selling your business for, whatever you might want to sell it for. So what you're not going to learn in this series is actually how to code. So if you came to the series wanting to learn how to code, I'm not going to teach you how to code in this series, okay? Because this series is about building a software as a service. It's about building a business, okay? You don't actually have to learn how to code to build a SaaS, and I'm going to get into how exactly to do that in one of the lectures later in the series. But what you need to know is that actually coding is just a very small part of the entire process. And so that's not something we're going to be getting into, but I will tell you how you can build a SaaS without knowing how to code at all. So why SaaS in particular, right? There's dozens, if not hundreds, of business models nowadays that you can use to make money on the internet. So why should you choose SaaS over something like e-commerce or something like info products or affiliate marketing? Well, the thing that's really cool about SaaS is that the margins are incredibly high, just astronomically high. And in fact, if you do a SaaS correctly, you can actually run the software for free. And so essentially any revenue you make is profit. So your margin is, 100%. So for example, in e-commerce, your average margin, maybe 30%. I've seen businesses that have 50% margins. I've also seen plenty of e-commerce businesses that have 5% margins. With software, it's gonna be a lot higher than that. That's something that's a big draw for a lot of people, is the incredibly high profit margins when it comes to making a software as a service. Another one that draws a lot of people is the subscription model. Now, making your SaaS a subscription is not totally necessary. You certainly can sell your software as a one-time package, but most software, the vast majority of software, is paid monthly, as in you get recurring revenue. With a typical product, let's say use e-com for example again, most e-commerce products are not recurring. Now, there are exceptions, supplements and sometimes topicals and essential goods, people come back and repurchase. But most products that are physical, you sell one time and then you never see that customer again. With software, you sell one time and then that same customer pays you every single month as long as they're continuing to use your product, which is incredible. Can you imagine going to the store and buying, a chair, and every time you sit in the chair, you send a check to the person that made the chair? That's crazy to think about, but that's essentially how software as a service works. As long as the users are continuing to use your platform, they're going to continue to pay you every single month. And that is a massive draw when it comes to why you should start a SaaS. So those are the two pretty big reasons right there. There are a few other ones that I won't get into, but I want to talk about why you shouldn't start a SaaS. Because again, there's a lot of people that talk about a lot of different business models, including myself, and not everybody talks about the bad things about the business model. There's drawbacks to every business model, and SaaS is no exception. It's not some silver bullet that, is magical and just is great in every way, because there's drawbacks. Why you shouldn't start a SaaS, one of the big reasons is there's not a lot of good resources to how to do it. So it reminds me of when I started selling on Amazon, like, 3-4 years ago. There wasn't as many resources as there are today, like not even close. Like if you wanted to start an e-com business today, the world is at your fingertips as far as information. There's so much out there. With building a software company, there's really hardly anything at all. And so again, that's one of the reasons I'm making this whole series, is to kind of make some content for people that might want to start a SaaS. But there's not a lot of information out there. And starting a SaaS is, I'm not going to say it's more difficult than starting an e-commerce business. It's just different. It's a different kind of difficulty. So e-com is challenging in its own ways, and so is software. There's pros and cons to both, again, but I would say the biggest drawback right now for SaaS is there's not a lot of information about how to do it. And it can be pretty meticulous. So there's certain things you have to do in a certain way, otherwise it's not really going to work. It's challenging, but it's not impossible. And I wouldn't necessarily say that it's harder than e-commerce or more difficult than any other business model. It's just different, and there's not a lot of documentation that explains how to do it. So that's all for this introduction video. In the next video of this series, we're gonna talk about market selection, okay? How to actually go about finding a market and then building a product for that specific market. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.